on the PCS website, aiming for next week. But overall, you're looking at a play-in tournament where you could see new talent that you didn't even expect was within your region, and there could be some wild cards there as those teams have to defend their slots. But again, we will not see which team will be joining Resurgence in a promo relegation situation until the end of these next two games, but it could possibly be here where that's decided if Liyab cannot find the victory and secure a playoff position and also force the tiebreaker for tomorrow. It starts things off here with the TF as well as the Ash being banned out from Liyab.
Yeah, Resurgence need to run with the momentum they found earlier, and just picking off some of these pocket picks really gonna give them a lot of the way towards that, because you have TF taken off the table against Rex, who is of course the king of Twisted Fate among the bottom tier teams, at least. Pretty much solo won their last encounter between these two teams just by backdooring crazily on the TF. And then also consider the fact that this Ashe was being whacked out by Dawn before anyone else had even thought about picking it up.
You also see there, Doidoi not going to be able to fall back on something like his Nidalee. The Lee Sin is still available, but that does mean Resurgence. This has been the go-to play, because Liyab, even in their games where they decide to take the red side, they always leave open this Graves, and it has slaughtered them time and time again.
Yeah, hoping we see Doidoi on the Lee Sin here instead of the Trundle, and yeah, that will be the play. It's a playmaker, it's an early game skirmisher, it's something they can then use to their advantage in playing through mid, because Rex and Doidoi actually make a convincing case for themselves as being a fairly formidable mid-jungle duo.
All right, and we get to see our first Caitlyn pop into the PCS here, and what a time to bring it out here for Dawn of all games, the possible decider to see whether or not they even have a shot at a tiebreaker tomorrow.
I mean, you saw my irritation and ire yesterday that teams were still defaulting to a Aphelios rather than the Caitlyn, who can take firm control of the early game. She has this mid-game lull, but actually I read something a couple of days ago where you can actually avoid the mid-game kind of lull, as we mentioned, just by building flat AD. You go Storm Razor as your attack speed item, Infedge, and then Lord Dominix, and just get a lot of AD behind your champion, and then think about attack speed later on. And then that means you avoid that kind of mid-game fall where Caitlyn is kind of underwhelming.
We do see, though, Resurgence bringing out some new picks for themselves. Going to go ahead and pick up that Senna that we just saw work wonders for Taipei J-Team. And then the Azir here for Raven in mid. But Mocha gets his go-to roamer in the Bard.
Yeah, definitely do have to look at this Bard as kind of making sure that Resurgence don't pick one of those priority melee supports paired with the Senna. And yeah, Bard just really makes life hell for anyone on the enemy team that's got less range than him. Speaking of range though, Senna can poke Caitlyn out later on, so up to Dawn to really hammer home some of those early auto attacks and get on the board pretty convincingly on this Caitlyn. That will be an issue for them because Liyab tend to play around the solo lanes with Doidoi early.
All right, so no Wukong going to be available for Shensekai up in that top lane. Looks like Rex's pool is going to be trying to be limited here on the side of RSG, getting rid of the Blanc, maybe even seeing that Zoe get banned out themselves, and then trying to force him onto something, I guess something new at this point, or can't even put him back on the Karma because Liyab actually banned that out.
This is potentially where I think we just default back to the Lux for Boxer, like we saw earlier in the day for Resurgence, but also just think about the top lane right now, because if Liyab lock Renekton on this rotation, it becomes increasingly difficult for Shinsekai to answer with his Urgot, with his Camille, with any of these big early game carries, unless he goes for the Jace, which hasn't worked out very well for Resurgence as of recent.
And there we go for Rex, though. They are going to go ahead, get that Zoe, kind of falling back to his, again, favorite champion when we talk to him. This time needs to perform and does leave Kanji up for the counter pick. May see him, though, default back onto something that's a little bit more tank and CC oriented, as the team is currently lacking that.
Yeah, definitely do have a couple of options here when it comes to the Resurgence squad. There is a melee that can thrive into Bard as long as you hit the hooks, and I like to see it because, of course, Zoe very telegraphed where she's going to go when she ults. So, yeah, win rate aside, this is, in theory, a very good pick.
All right, so now for Shensekai, we saw him on the gangplank earlier. This time around, though, he is going to be that CC bot in the form of the Orange, just trying to, again, get himself tanky and ready to go to help alleviate that pressure away from the Senna as well as that Azir.
Yeah, big investment on the bottom half of the map now with that Ornn chilling in the top side. It means the Shinsekai is just going to be left on an island. It means the Raven farming up in the Azir probably, and it means we'll see Quake and Boxer being the focal lane for the Resurgence jungler.
Interesting though for Kanji, again, he used to be a mid lane pretty much as his go-to role for the majority of his time in the academy system of Liyab. This time gets himself a Sylas that again could have been flexed into the mid, but is going to be going up into the top lane and gives him something that maybe he's a little bit more comfortable on.
Yeah, definitely look at the Sylas as being that big Ornn counter. You just steal the Forge God, get a big long-range engage, and have that decent AP scaling. Ornn as well, pretty much a free lane, so it means you can ramp up a couple of resources into the Sylas's back pockets. And now we're looking for Liyab again to mirror that kind of playstyle from Resurgence and play for bot side. The issue being that they have never been a bot side focused team, instead choosing to sit back, play for solo lanes, and hope that Dawn can show up for team fights.
And this is time where you really need a Doidoi as well as Mocha to be on top of their game. Also, Dawn, he's had glimpses of that he could possibly carry this team when the situation demands it. Now onto this Caitlyn, where he is going to be that primary damage dealer outside of that Zoe, looking for those massive bursts. Again, promo relegation on the line here for Liyab. If they lose, Resurgence brings them down with them. If they win, then it's up to Nova to take down Berjaya Dragons to force the tiebreaker tomorrow, in which that losing team will have to defend their slot in the PCS come next year. The other will move on to the postseason. Nonetheless, let's get locked and loaded and get set as we load onto the Rift for our 5th game of the night.
Welcome to Summer's Rift.
The alien in the corner.
You know, drums rolling, the horizon on the dawn with the sun, and then alien. Wouldn't be a little bit of fun here. Of course, this is a classic matchup. Again, Singapore versus the Philippines, Liyab versus Resurgence, both teams that come from storied backgrounds as previous organizations with recognizable names. Now here in the PCS and Resurgence, they said they had one lone goal this weekend. They weren't going to make playoffs, but they said, for damn, we are going to be bringing down Liyab with us.
Yeah, the relegation tournament approaches for Resurgence, and they will try to drag Liyab down here. Liyab, on the other hand, need to show up big, need to actually take a convincing win here, because then, if the stars align, they're still ending up playing a tiebreaker match against Berjaya.
And not to know too, Nova themselves want to go ahead and win that matchup because it can help leapfrog them in the standings to get a better position come playoffs. So Nova are going to be doing their damage to try and take down Berjaya. It's up to Liyab here to at least set up that possibility with a victory over one of their main rivals that have been around for numerous years.
Yeah, fairly standard start to this game so far. Interesting to note is that we have the Electrocute rather than Spellbook Zoe, so it means that we should see Rex fishing for aggressive poke in the mid lane, which is not necessarily something we've come to expect from the Liyab mid laner. He's more of a roamer, he's more of a kind of selfish, play for the map kind of style, and honestly, the fact he's having to greed for 1v1 trades is a little bit concerning.
All you do see here, though, he does have that Ignite. Unfortunately, does not land the Paddle Star. And now Raven looking for possibly the kill, as Rex may be getting a little bit too aggressive here early.
Yeah, keep your eye on these junglers. As we said, they both trend towards the solo lanes because they largely play with carry top laners. This time around, though, Resurgence have the luxury of leaving Shinsekai in isolation, even if it is a counter matchup, and just rotating Epic wherever he wants to go. Epic level 2, by the way, so this is rough.
There we go, though. Near top lane. Shinsekai is going to get caught out. Kanji able to get nearby, as well as Q going to land. And first blood onto the rookie in top here for Liyab.
Yeah, good chaining of spells there, good connection of the skill shots, and good takedown of Shinsekai to open this one up in favor of Liyab. We saw earlier, Alpha didn't punish Shinsekai's relatively inconsistent laning at all, and as a result of that, the focal point of this RSG lineup got a free early game. Liyab now on another kill crusade.
I do see Raven, though, is going to be nearby. Doidoi forced the flash away, but goes back in with the Q. Bubble is going to connect, and unfortunately for Raven, going to get set up, and there you go. It's the second kill to Liyab as they take down the Azir.
Mocha even here as well. The Bard Magical Journey available for him at level 2. Rotates around the map just in case his team needs it. And Liyab, great degree of communication here. Continuing to apply it. Shinsekai!
He's too far forward, does have the flash available, will get himself back to safety as Epic is nearby. And Shinsekai, he's used that emote pretty much the entire split. This is fine as he gets camped up here in the top lane.
Yeah, a little bit of a rough early game for the top side of Resurgence so far, but beautiful execution from Liyab, and the driving force behind all of this has been Doidoi on Lee Sin.
Oh,
my
Speaking
God.
of Doidoi, though, maybe stuck around for a little bit too long, got a little bit greedy, had still yet to back after that kill and the assist, and Resurgence are able to get Shinsekai on the board.
Once upon a time, this man was a Trundle OTP in the making, and now he's a big Lee Sin carry. For better or for worse, Bloodthirst does blow up in his face here, and right now we see Resurgence actually in a somewhat okay position. Again, Execution is calling Rush for Ornn into the Silas matchup. That was a dunk and a half.
That was just
AD
Doidoi.
from the longsword.
Yeah, Doidoi feeling like he had the opportunity to maybe try and camp Shinsekai very hard, but again, greed ends up costing him.
Headbutt.
Yeah, just
into
give him a
nothing
quick
there.
headbutt. Don't worry about it.
Gotta love it.
But that is going to be Cloak actually being rushed here by Shinsekai, so he's just trying to get as much MR as possible up into this Silas matchup.
This is tragic because you see top laners at like 20 CS at 5 minutes, and now the junglers are just going to leave them alone. It's like, you've ruined my lane phase, and now you've just pieced out to the bottom half of the map for the rest of this game.
But this is kind of what we wanted to see from Liyab, is in particular, he wanted to see them play via the bot side of the map, which most of the times we never got to see this.
Yeah, definitely do look at this Liyab team as snowballing Kanji early and then playing exclusively for these winning bot side matchups. Zoe into Azir, fantastic. A lot of kill pressure there, hence the Ignite, regardless of Rex's questionable skill shots so far. And then you have Caitlyn and Bard just running rampant if they get ahead. That being said though, live and die by Blitz Hook. You know, I love this champ. One hook changes the game for either team. Not counting out Boxer yet.
Yeah, and for Boxer and Quake, what a way would it be to, you know, have your kind of debut in the last couple of these weeks of summer, just to try and dash the hopes here of Liyab. And if it came down to one Blitzcrank hook, that would kind of be a good summary here of Liyab, where almost everything comes together, and at the last second, it's one thing that ends up costing them everything.
Kind of tragic that we see Boxer actually rocking the Piltover Customs Blitzcrank rather than the Boom Boom Blitzcrank, I believe,
What?
with the boxing gloves.
True.
Yeah, see? There was something there.
You know, going with his style, but we got the boxing from Doidoi with, well, I guess Mutai Lee Sin, but still. Nonetheless, here now at 7 minutes, this is still going to be a slight gold advantage over to RSG. Liyab themselves at least are able to take control toward the objectives as they have already secured the first dragon. And like we said, now with Rex on level 6, maybe going to get some better trades in mid, but not like that. That's going to be the bubble landing, and is that enough to save him? In comes the Senna ultimate, though, and Quake, the sniper from downtown, able to take down Rex.
And that was in the counter matchup. Raven coming up huge. We had our question marks about him, but we attributed a lot of Resurgence's comeback potential to this man in the mid lane. He finds an aggressive engage, he sets up his AD carry for a pickup, and Liyab, despite rotating their pieces around this mid lane at that moment in time, just find themselves caught out massively.
Unfortunately, too, Rex with nowhere to really go. Just gets sniped there by Quake, so a nice job. Also picking up a quick kill on that Senna, and now Dawn and Mocha, even though they expect them to play via this bot side, now doesn't really matter as they've already been able to get on the board on the side of Resurgence.
Yeah, definitely now look at Liyab as still being in the lead. However, Resurgence have their gold lead, Resurgence have their late game insurance, but they don't have a Lee Sin popping off, and they don't have the Bard for the crazy rotations.
So we do see Rift Herald is going to be started, so Liyab, again, neutral objective of focus. Lee's coming out here from the squad as they're going to be able to use that, and we'll see whether or not they try and go for a play maybe toward this top lane, as Kanji does have that Call of Forge God available, but Doidoi decides to just path down toward the bot side.
Yeah, top lane's a good idea, just get Kanji even further ahead, but I think bot side is where we turn off focus. Mid lane at this point, beyond saving, that was just rough. And then bot lane is where you want to get some gold funneled onto Dawn to really push this Caitlyn into super, super big points of relevancy.
We do see Doidoi at least trying to take his time here. Moko is also pathing, and that kind of gives away to Resurgence. Maybe there's a play being set up towards the mid lane as Kanji is using that Call of the Forge God. It was about to go on cooldown anyway.
Yeah, really cool. Just a little bit of a trade here. Actually opting for the all-in as well, but come on, it's onto an Ornn. Not too much there. Actually, huge credit to Shinsekai for coming out ahead in CS pretty dramatically here, despite being, you know, actually counterpicked.
Doing a good job so far. Doidoi. He's, though, going to try and make his way toward the top side. Shinsekai getting a bit aggressive. Kanji trying to bait him down into the river, realizing that, hey, maybe Doidoi's around. Actually, for once, not seeing Shinsekai greed for a possible kill.
Wait out for the Lee Sin W to fall off? Yeah, and now they have no idea.
Oh, there we go. Jumping on forward, able to get him on the kick, and there you go, diving underneath the tower. Shinsekai going to get taken on down. Doidoi almost taken down, but in comes another shot from Quake. The Singapore sniper able to pick up his second kill on the Senna.
Incredibly close solo kill almost from Shinsekai and his AD carry from across the map to really bring that one home. The Ornn, they waited for a splash to come back up before deciding to revisit this lane, but sure, we take those. Clean chaining of spells from Shinsekai, of course, couldn't actually wait to channel the ultimate there. And almost a double kill coming through from Resurgence as they do trade back pretty dramatically. Now looking to trade back with the second Drake of the game.
And for Quake here, we said, all right, they get kind of Kanji ahead, get the ball rolling. Well, now Liyab have to deal with the fact that this Senna has now been able to pick up 2 kills without any impact from the lane.
Absolutely that, and now you have Quake in a very strong position to just harass down Dawn and Mocha from a distance. We needed Caitlyn Bard to use that early lane pressure as... What?
Oh, Rex getting hyper-aggressive. Tick will come through onto Raven, but it will be a trade as Epic able to make his way into the mid lane.
And that is how the Zoe Azir matchup should go. You just E him before he has a chance to trade back on you, and then you all in, much like this.
There you go, Kanji looking for that invade. Also has a collateral damage himself. Trying to duke it is going to be Epic. Not going to be the case, though, as Mocha, and again, Doidoi on the roam.
Pretty tidy topside play from the side of Liyab there. Just moving as a coherent unit, cracking open these plates in the mid lane to boot, and really just hammering home that Liyab are here to play. Dawn quietly scaling on the Caitlyn as well. This is Liyab's identity. They blow up the early game as best they can with the pieces they have, and then just transition to a comfortable team fight around this newly debuting marksman.
And there you go. At least we got to see Rex finally get that solo kill in mid. And a nice rotate at least coming back out from Kanji, and Doidoi helps net Kanji an extra kill, now 3-0-0, finishing off his proto belt as well as getting some turret plating.
Yeah, actually I like how I referred to Dawn as the newly debuting marksman, despite Quake literally only playing like 2 games before this week. But yeah, we live and learn with who the rookies are in this game as well. One of them is getting knocked out top lane again. And
now Doidoi joining in back to the fray. Epic's going to try and come over himself. Doidoi greeting for this, needs to get on top of him, and they will get the kick onto Epic as well. Q's going to land, and Epic gets taken down. Give him the thumbs down, Doidoi says, and they find themselves another 2 kills in the top lane.
And again, the top side of Liyab just shows up massively. The coherent unit of Kanji and Doi, absolute units between the two of them, and here's a fight mid.
And there you go, Mocha with a very nice setup, but meanwhile, Raven able to knock him out. In comes the ace in the hole from Dawn. Not enough damage to finish off Raven, and Boxer able to find the kill with the Ignite.
Yeah, big rotation from the Bard and the attempted follow from the Caitlyn, but it's too little too late. Dawn now!
Rex able to land in on the bubble, and it sets him up for the easy kill off the Ignite. Unfortunately, Boxer can't do a whole lot here. Kanji looking for the dive alongside Doi. It's the flash out from Boxer to get himself back to safety, but another kill now comes through for Rex on the Zoe.
Yeah, the Blitzcrank R with the extra AP gonna hurt if Kanji decides to pull the trigger, but no, he's just escaping his victorious mid laner, escorting his victorious mid laner on his escape mid. Good pickup by Rex to really cement Liyab's lead here, and good attempt from Resurgence to turn this one around. Again, center ult, super high value. Again, the turnaround nearly there, but now Rex has decided to start hitting his bubbles, and Rex has decided to start winning this game for the side of Liyab.
Do note, though, that they did give over the one kill, only onto the Blitzcrank, though, so that is going to be at least the one saving silver lining for Liyab on that play, as they didn't give that over to, say, Raven or possibly Quake, who, again, already sitting up pretty good, and a bit tragic here from Boxer, not able to finish off the kill on Rex, and lose out on his flash as well.
Yeah, just really, really clean execution coming through from Liyab there. Could have graded for more, but Epic showing his face to save his support. I feel it. Good stuff. And Liyab now, with that lead from that skirmish, going to rotate upwards for the second Herald of the game.
And Mocha, he has pretty much trusted Dawn at this point to pretty much be able to take care of himself. Kanji and Doi try and get themselves back over to safety. Epic going to get kicked on over. Call the Forge God, but a beautiful Blitzcrank ultimate helps shut it down as Raven, even though there was the Tempered Fate, did not connect onto Liyab's members, and they lose 2.
Big explosion in that choke point between Azir and Ornn just free casting, but while all of that happens, the Caitlyn gets some plates, gets the Tower First Blood, gets a ton of gold in her pocket, and as we mentioned, that mid-game lull out of the picture as long as you have your Berserker's Greaves and skip the next attack speed item.
So there you go. Now we get that Caitlyn on board, and Dawn even being left alone. We never saw Epic or Raven really try and rotate down to that bot side to try and punish. Liyab, they do at least walk away with a Rift Herald, but they do give over some much-needed gold to Raven.
Honestly, this was just about as clean as it could have been from the side of Resurgence, trying to tidy up and clean up after the successful Bard heist on that Rift Herald, just in and out with the Magical Journey. Honestly, Liyab, though, they're pretty happy with how that played out, and if they take another fight, they can just pop the Herald, force some Prio, and then rotate down for a Drake contest, or hard commit the mid lane push.
Or maybe even go for a fight here. Mocha does not have his ultimate available, and Doi gets caught out, and that is disastrous. That's going to be one member down. Call the Forge God used by Kanji just to try and go for a disengage. Meanwhile, though, Shelly able to get an extra charge through the mid lane. Liyab are able to open up the map, but they do lose their jungle.
Yeah, Blitzcrank Hook setting the pace of the game by itself, catches out the enemy jungler, and Resurgence one step closer to Soul now. Have the lead on Drakes, lost their lead in gold, but only just by a little bit, and with the amount of standing gold still available in the form of all their towers, Resurgence actually look to be in a pretty okay position. Good chain of CC as soon as the headbutt comes through from Ornn. It's a free knock-up into a free hook, into free real estate for the side of Resurgence.
Real estate, though, hot commodity, it seems, as Liyab really enjoy their towers, and they're going to go ahead and take down another one here. And Dawn on this Caitlyn, we've not seen him at all during this game, just split pushing on the side lane, and like you mentioned, has now picked up even more neutral gold for himself.
Yeah, definitely need to look for when Dawn joins fights on the Caitlyn. Has late game insurance, should not go for attack speed second. If he gets Zeal, it's kind of sad because it means he's not waiting for that mid-game investment and will instead just have to play it safe. Nope, Execution is calling. Okay, it's a dagger though, so it could be Stormrazor, could be a heartbreaking Phantom Dancer. Time will indeed tell as to how this Caitlyn plays this one out.
You see Rex? Ooh! Some decent damage there onto Quake, and that's without a bubble lining it up. Do you see, though, tower is going to get taken onto the top side of the map. That might be the call with Raven on the top side. Go for a dive once again onto Sensekai. There is going to be the Ward Dan taken on down. Q, though, does not connect from Doi Doi.
I actually really like seeing how this is playing out with the Senna Blitz bot lane, because Blitzcrank really thirsts for vision denial. Like, back in the old days of, like, Season 4, I think Mad Life bought 50 pink wards in one game on Blitzcrank. And Senna, Umbral Glaive, helps you clear out wards, helps you clear out vision, deny vision, and just set up for picks, set up for hooks, set up for aggressive power plays from Resurgence to really put Liyab into sticky situations.
You do see, though, Liyab a little bit creative when it comes to their warding, have been able to kind of find little nooks and crannies on the top side of the map that has kept them safe from these collapses coming out from Resurgence. And now 2.5 minutes until we get ourselves our third possible Drake for Resurgence, or Liyab can try and at least tie it 2-2. This Quake going to be interrupted there on the back as Redemption just being used there by Rex to at least get another cooldown.
Yeah, Liyab really feeling the pressure now, though, because Azir, Senna later on, some very, very potent carry threats. Blitzcrank Hook always to worry about as well. And Liyab need to feel the pressure because their playoffs, their escape from relegation, both are on the line here, and both really need them to pick up the pace.
Yeah, because it doesn't become, you know, Resurgence, these assassins, as it were, taking them down with them into relegation, or does Liyab at least get their opportunity to fight another day tomorrow up against Berjaya, which, again, for those just tuning in, Liyab are on the brink of getting A, eliminated from playoffs, and 2, facing relegation, and even if they win this match, it's up to Nova to give them some assistance and take down Berjaya Dragons in our final game of the day.
Yeah, definitely do look at that relegation tournament as being the elephant in the room for both of these teams. It's Resurgence saying, look, we don't want Berjaya in there with us. We want you to be dragged down to our level, while Liyab say, we're better than this. We can, you know, okay, actually, back in spring, heartbreaker of a tiebreaker to knock Liyab out, and if that repeats this time around, despite them winning this and then playing Berjaya tomorrow and then losing that, I really don't know how to feel for this organization.
It's a rough one. It's a rough one. This team was looking to light a spark for their country, coming into the PCS, looking to represent it proudly. So far, we saw back in spring, it was a promising roster of some veterans from the region as well as some imports from Korea. It didn't pan out their way. So they decided, all right, let's get rid of the veterans. Let's look for a new play style with some fresh faces. And it seems like that inexperience was consistently getting exploited by some of the top teams within the PCS. And that's the thing about Liyab, though. You talk about top teams, they were known as the Kingslayers. They've been able to take down AHQ. They've been able to take down PSG. It's those mid-pack teams they always struggled with.
There's a pink in this pit. There's full vision of it, and yet Liyab still commit for the mid push. Azir helps balance out the fact Senna can't kill neutral objectives very quickly, and yet it's still not fast enough that this is a good play.
So you do see at least Caitlyn Trap's going to come on down again with Dawn, has that ability to try and zone off possible routes for Resurgence, at least enter into the river. But once again, it's going to be Baron started up, and Liyab, they do have the numbers advantage if they ever want to go for this. They are just having to deal with the fact that Raven and Sensekai are trying to move them from the mid lane.
Yeah, definitely now need to look at how Liyab play this one out. What is their priority here? Do they take it one step closer to solve for themselves and lose potentially a top lane tier 2, as well as some vision control around that Baron? Or do they just opt into a skirmish, into a pick with the Zoe, into any kind of fight here, instead just taking that Cloud Drake and saying, alright, we're okay with giving you some vision back?
It doesn't look like Resurgence are really going to be able to answer. You saw collateral damage is looking for that kind of miracle steal. Does get locked down by Doi Doi. And Liyab are able to at least tie up our Dragon stacks 2-2 as we start heading into this mid to late game where items starting to come online. Looking toward your second items now on the side of Liyab. We'll still see what Dawn is aiming for. Looks like it's going to be a Zeal build like you mentioned.
Yeah, Zeal, of course, not super efficient. You should be going Storm Razor second nowadays on Caitlyn for the extra punch in your AD, but that being said, we're already in the mid game. It's already a lull. Caitlyn's not on the board. Caitlyn's not really doing much of anything. why not just continue in that awful, awful trajectory all the way down for Dawn? He's chilling. He's now just waiting for 4 items while you have a Senna who's already at 3, basically.
Yeah, once you got that glaive as well as your next item almost coming online, it's a little bit scary. We see Liyab. Unfortunately, this tower just going to get knocked down. No real response. Mocha pushing on toward the trigger maybe for using his ultimate, but maybe the comm's starting to break down here on the side of Liyab, as this is often the point in the game where we call it the backbreaker. That one fight for Liyab that ends up costing them so much on the map in terms of objectives as well as goals.
If they wanted a backbreaker, maybe they should have picked Set. But yeah, honestly, just looking at Resurgence now as... I don't know how to feel about this, because they weren't proactive at all when it came to actually following up on Liyab committing for the Cloud Drake. This is proactivity, though.
There you go. Baron going to be started by RSG. Mocha on the flank ends up popping the Tempered Fate. Does stall out the Baron. Resurgence just go ahead and back off, giving some time back over to Liyab.
Liyab now just looking to fish for control of that area themselves, but know for a fact that in a 5v5, they'll probably lose, especially in a choke point. That's why you see Resurgence now.
Gets caught out, able to steal again. The Emperor's Divide actually got interrupted because he went into stasis immediately. Does not matter, though. RSG decide not to pull the trigger to continue on the chase, not knowing where the rest of Liyab are. They were pathing up through the jungle, and that alone is enough to give a little bit of safety back to Kanji.
Promising by Liyab to lead Resurgence around the map like that with no real loss besides the flash of the Silas, but at the same time, Resurgence now, they have control of topside. They should push their vision line aggressively, and I think both of these teams just kind of awkwardly dancing around each other while they wait for the next Drake to spawn. I think that's a big issue for Resurgence, because right now they're much stronger than their counterparts. You have Ornaments already online for himself, you have a Senna who's huge, you have a Caitlyn on the enemy team who's not a champion yet, and honestly, Resurgence, they should opt into fights right now.
Well, that sometimes has been the issue of Resurgence. They themselves kind of lose focus on what their win condition is during this mid-game. Rex hunting here, need to be careful. That's a flash forward from Boxer, not gonna land, and even pops the ultimate a little bit early. And now Liyab, maybe with an opportunity themselves, but still hesitant to pull the trigger, realizing they still maybe need some time and some poke to land from Rex.
Yeah, definitely do need to wait for that before they make a crazy commitment. The only real all-in potential they have is if Kanji steals one of the better ultimates to take, splitting the fight with an Emperor's Divide, a Call of the Forge God, any kind of conditional play like that. Now they're just fishing for bubbles. Now they're just on the back. Rex could die.
Rex in an awful position, just gets caught out immediately. And that has been a common complaint we have had for Liyab. Rex's positioning on the outskirts of fights have costed Liyab games before, and it may cost them playoffs.
Rex with the attempted assassination. Yes, Senna dies in one hit from a Zoe max range combo, but the issue is you die in one Blitzcrank hook, and your team may die to this siege.
There you go, though. They are able to clear it out with Kanji stealing the Call of the Forge God to help clear the way, but there, again, we're seeing glimpses of this team's downfalls from the regular season seeping through in their final game where they must take home a victory. And Rex, we mentioned this guy was, again, built up to be this kind of next talent coming into the region as an import. We have not been able to see it outside of a few games this entire season. And now, misplays like that will cost you. Doido gets on top of Boxer immediately. Kanji gonna follow on through. In comes, though, the Senna ultimate from the Call of Forge God, and Kanji has no escape. Mocha ends up using his ultimate way far wide, and there you are. Epic gets himself another kill, and Liyab need to start running.
Resurgence now proving that they are not the worst team in the league, despite having a rough start to the season, despite having a rough end to the season. They are now playing with their pride on the line, and they are flourishing because of it. Liyab, on the other hand, getting a little bit desperate now, a little bit, feeling the pressure because their playoffs dreams, their escaping relegation dreams are looking pretty dire. so far this game.
Yeah, unfortunately turning into nightmares. That's going to be the third dragon secured for Resurgence. And again, team on the side of Liyab just trying to be hyper aggressive. Look for those single picks, but it doesn't work out. And now Liyab need to try and find a mental reset, try and hold out this game as long as possible and see whether or not Dawn can carry it back.
Yeah, still waiting for Dawn to come online truly here. Building towards this Mortal Reminder. Won't really be a champion till 4 items at this rate, and that is not the play to be making. Caitlyn 0-0-0, tail of this game, just watching everyone else fall apart around him while he himself contributes nothing but the occasional clear of the waves. Liyab, they need a miracle at this point, and with themselves being pushed to Dragon Soul already, plus Baron being available, thanking their lucky stars that the enemy marksman is Senna, who cannot really commit for such crazy neutral objective takes.
And like you also mentioned with that glaive earlier on, it's rather difficult to maintain vision in around toward that Baron pit. If Resurgence are able to find Prio in the mid lane, again, Liyab have to reset, replenish the wards. I'll say though, at the very least, Resurgence are still kind of giving them an opening. We haven't seen a rather proactive play. It's been them at least exploiting the mistakes of Liyab, and if Liyab aren't giving those, we aren't seeing anything from Resurgence.
It's okay, Boxer has his Righteous Glory complete now, so you can just run at them, find a hook, onto the flashless Zoe, do his best to actually bring this one home for the Resurgence lineup. But yeah, as you said, not quite as proactive as we'd maybe like, and this neutral objective will probably be pretty telling here as to how this game is going to play out.
There you go, Resurgence just going to go ahead, push in this mid lane, Mocha and Dawn. Again, like you mentioned, it's been this Caitlyn's duty the entire game so far, clear out the way, but look at that map. Starting to go dark on toward the top side as Resurgence push back, get rid of the control wards, and Liyab have to start checking if they want to maintain control over toward this Baron.
Yeah, Umbral Glaive aside, there is another reason why I love the Blitz plus Senna lane, and that's because when you clump up as a team and the Senna pops her Ghost AoE thing, you don't know which Ghost is Blitzcrank, and then you panic because one moves towards you and suddenly there's a hook to your face.
There we go, though. Resurgence going to go ahead and start this off. Pingzo coming out immediately from Liyab, realizing that this is taking place. Baron now down to 10,000 health. A little bit slow here from Raven, only onto his third item. Not fully online yet with that Azir, and Liyab are able to stall it.
Yeah, a bit of a Baron dance coming through. Teams trading back mid-priority, then looking for that neutral. Shinsekai alone, but is he truly? Probably takes a little bit too long to kill before the rest of the team can collapse.
You see, though, third items coming online toward the side of Liyab, as you're going to have that complete here for Kanji on his next back. You have Mortal Reminder now complete. Boxer looking for the engage, not able to land it as Dawn gets himself back to safety, but that is going to be a flashless Caitlyn now for the next couple of minutes.
Yeah, definitely did look at Dawn as being fairly vulnerable in the next fight. To a stray Blitz hook, to an Azir insect, to an Ornn to the face. Quake flourishing behind a big, beefy front line, and Resurgence still in full control of this, even if their objective game has been a little bit shaky, to say the very least. 1 minute on the Dragon Soul should be one that they're much more comfortable pulling the trigger on, relative to a Baron that does take a while to kill.
Let's see here, at least Kanji is going to be able to secure the scuttle at the very least. 1 minute before the spawn of the dragon, so at least Liyab will be able to see whether or not vision is being established. Kanji as well wants to try and get Prio in that bot lane and give Liyab the opportunity to maybe contest this soul, like you mentioned, as Resurgence already starting to path here toward the pit.
Yeah, top wave in a pretty awkward position considering Liyab are going to make a huge commitment towards the bottom half of the map, just pushing in favor of Resurgence. If they secure mid push as well, it means the Resurgence have 2 winning lanes, and that means they should have a winning and advantageous rotation towards this next big objective. Liyab now just scrambling to try and make this up.
All right, here we go. You can take a look at that gold graph, still slightly in favor of Resurgence by 1,000. Looks like Dawn also opting in to just get into that 100% crit as soon as possible, going into another Zeal item himself. And here we go, Resurgence with control of the river. Spawn now for their final Cloud Dragon. If they are able to secure it, Doidoi on toward the side, gets caught out by a ward. And Doidoi gets immediately put into stasis. Mocha, though, able to interrupt the engage, but no, Shinsekai followed on through. Kanji on the flank, but it's too late. Soul will go in favor of Resurgence as it's not going to get stolen. Dawn gets caught out. There's no flash on the Caitlyn. The shutdown comes through for Epic, and Resurgence now with a 2-man advantage.
And despite one of the most promising early games for this Lee Sin, he is just food for the Resurgence squad. Magnet for the Blitzcrank hooks, and Resurgence more than happy to claim that one, as well as the Soul, and probably this Baron.
And with Baron buff in hand, Liyab need to hold on for now 3 minutes, avoiding the siege from Resurgence. But maybe now with the confidence of having this Soul point in their favor, it might be GG on the horizon for Liyab.
Definitely does look to be the case here. Really frightening siege to have to deal with. There's a hook coming at you. There's an Ornn coming at you. There's an Azir more than willing to split the fight like he did here. Just creates so much space between Liyab and the Drake. Kanji never really has a way in. Dawn is your frontliner in this clump of Bard, Zoe, Caitlyn, for whatever reason. And Liyab, their fight is so conditional. None of the stars aligned for that play.
I even saw the fact that, of course, Dawn had to use his flash only a couple minutes earlier, didn't have this safety himself, and now Mocha might get caught out. Doidoi getting a little bit too close to the action himself. Both, though, are able to get back to safety. Does now bring to question, though, is Resurgence going to be proactive with this Baron buff? We saw them be little less than that pretty much this entire game so far, really relying on Liyab to be the ones to make mistakes, and they do have that ability to try and close things down. Kanji trying to be sneaky here. This is rather gutsy. Is he just going to try and steal away the Emperor's Divide? Tower already goes down. Kanji, you might as well start backing.
Okay, I think you go for it. The Azir turret's up now, so it's a little bit scary. I think he should have gone for it while Resurgence was split between mid and bot. Still could go for it now. Oh
no, Kanji, your team's just getting sieged upon. Now that they did see that now Ping's coming out, they did spot him out toward a ward, and now he's just going to get caught out. Kanji, you wasted so much time, and now you're just going to get taken apart by Resurgence.
Rough play coming through from the Liyab top laner. So desperate for a flank. Mission Impossible's his way into that bush in the lane, and yet doesn't go for the aggressive play here. Liyab, they could take the risk to save their season, and yet they don't. They don't make the call, and ooh, Shinsekai, the only time he gets to BM this entire season, you can bet he's gonna do it.
Unfortunately for Liyab, these rookies, maybe it was too soon. Maybe it was too soon to try and go for the competitive push, but once again, Resurgence are able to interrupt Liyab's chances, and just like that, they say, you're coming down with us into the promo relegation, as Liyab are eliminated from playoff contention and must defend their slot in the PCS.
Resurgence, if there ever were a time to make a convincing case for yourselves, it would be now. It's a little too late for them to be making that climb back up, but they don't look too terrible, and honestly, that was a game that they can be proud of.
And it was mission accomplished there for Jensen and his team. As he said, if there was going to be one thing we were going to do today, it was going to bring down Liyab into promo relegation with us. They now, of course, join Resurgence, having to defend their slot, and Berjaya can breathe a sigh of relief, as no matter what outcome comes out of their game now up against Nova later tonight, pretty much means doesn't matter, you're going to be into playoffs here for summer.
Yeah, and Doidoi played his heart out in that early game, but Liyab just not proactive enough with the leads they did get. A little bit spread across the map, a little bit just sitting back, waiting for objectives to spawn, letting Azir center scale pretty much for free, and despite starting off well, the pressure, it feels like it got to them, and you even saw the opportunity for a crazy flank at the end there, with that hero play potentially coming out.
You have to ask there
it.
for Kanji, if you're gonna go for that play, just go for the damn play, because that was the saddest way to have to finish off your game, watching your base being taken while you're in gray screen, all because you had the inability to make that call. But it wasn't just his fault. There were multiple mistakes coming out from a core components of this Liyab team that ended up costing them their shot at playoffs.
Yeah, just a hard commit trying to steal the soul there, end up getting shut down, end up splitting apart, and it's just free picks for the Blitzcrank, free picks for the Senna, free chase down for everybody else. Honestly, game was already lost at this point. Liyab never should have been put in this position. They had Lee Sin pop off early and couldn't do much with it.
And there you are, your MVP for the game. It's going to go on over to Epic on the Graves. Able to pick up the victory, and for Resurgence, they find themselves their third win, and it is a very sweet victory, I think, for them and this squad. Happy that they're able to take down the regional rivals, but still a lot of work to do, as they still have to defend their slot when it comes to the PCS in 2021 if they wish to remain within the league.
Tripled their wins across the course of the entire split just on the final day.
Yeah, that is how hard this Resurgence squad was having this split. And the fact that they're able to at least, hey, take down Alpha, which was known to be this hyper-aggressive squad, and also take down the regional rivals, you can't ask for anything better.
I need to look at my predictions, actually.
Are you happy?
Sec.
Did Resurgence finally pull through for you, Abriz?
I actually did vote for Resurgence, so yes, but at the same time I was kind of hoping for tie-break City, you know?
Well, there's still the possibility of some tie breaks, but to remind you, of course, that promo relegation tournament will be taking place on September 8th and 9th. We'll see if these two squads can at least defend their position within PCS. Of course, we still have one more match and still the possibility of either 1 or 3 tiebreaker games come tomorrow, depending on the results of Nova taking on Virginia Dragons.
CTBC Bank is Taiwan's top financial institution, but we're not stopping there. We're crafting an international brand and already have over 260 outlets in 14 countries.